All right, so get this for our deep dive. This time you guys send us a resume, A&D, a scientific study.
Wow.
So yeah, we're going to be looking at this guy, Lev Motin, and his research on how viruses survive, in extreme temperatures.
Okay.
Like think about meatpacking plants.
Interesting.
So first, Lev Motin's resume.
Okay.
This thing honestly reads like a spy thriller.
Really?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
This guy starts out as a senior research associate at this super prestigious institute in Russia.
Uh-huh.
And he's tackling things like thermonuclear power.
Wow.
And magnetohydrodynamics.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pretend like I know what that is.
Right. It sounds like something straight out of Star Trek.
It does. I mean, those fields require a deep understanding of complex systems.
Yeah.
Like fluid dynamics, energy transfer, all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's not even just about knowing the science.
Wait, yeah.
It's about how all those little crazy parts work together.
Exactly.
Okay, so hold on, because it gets even crazier.
Okay.
From there, she goes to Brookhaven National Laboratory.
Oh.
And becomes a nuclear reactor safety expert.
That's high stakes.
No kidding.
But, it's interesting how his expertise just flows from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
Like, even though what he's working on is different, power generation versus reactor safety,
Uh-huh.
the basic principles are still the same.
Right.
It's like he's got this mental toolbox, full of all this science knowledge.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, what tool do I need for this problem?
And he just knows.
Yeah.
And then just when you think you've got this guy all figured out, bam.
What?
Total entrepreneurial twist.
No way.
In 2015, he founds this company called N5 Digital Inc.
Oh.
And get this, they're developing everything.
Everything.
Fitness equipment, educational apps, air sanitizers,
Mm-hmm.
even miniature underwater propulsion systems.
That's crazy. You know what I find so fascinating about this guy?
What's that?
It just screams problem solver.
Uh-huh.
It's like he sees a need and he's like, all right, I'm going to use my science brain and fix this.
No matter what it is.
Exactly. It could be anything.
So that leads us to the second part of this deep dive.
Okay.
A study by, you guessed it,
Lev Motin.
the one and only.
Of course.
This one's called Virus Infection at Lowered Body Temperatures.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it gets pretty chilly.
So what does a nuclear engineer turned entrepreneur know about viruses?
Right.
Well, this study shows he's concerned about public health.
Yeah.
Specifically, how temperature affects how viruses act.
And how our bodies respond.
Exactly.
And you know what this study was actually inspired by?
What?
Observations during COVID.
Oh.
Like specifically the high infection rates among meatpacking workers.
Yeah, I remember all those headlines.
Right. They were working in those super cooled facilities.
And it really underscores a point we often miss.
What's that?
The environment's role in how diseases spread.
Yeah.
We always focus on the virus itself,
Mm.
but this study shows how important temperature is. It can totally change how easily a virus spreads.
And how vulnerable we are to it.
Is
So the main idea of this study is this thing called temperature asymmetry.
temperature asymmetry.
Yeah, I know it's a mouthful.
Okay.
But basically it means that viruses actually do better in colder temperatures.
Really?
And at the same time, our immune systems don't work as well in the cold.
So it's like a double whammy.
It really is.
This is where Motin's background in complex systems really comes in handy.
Yeah.
He's looking at two systems, the virus and the human body,
Uh-huh.
and how they react differently to temperature.
Right.
And that difference, that asymmetry, can give the virus a huge advantage.
It's almost like a tug of war, right?
Yeah.
The virus is pulling on one side,
Uh-huh.
our immune system's on the other side.
Okay.
And then when the temperature drops, it's like someone dumps a whole bunch of weight on the virus's side.
And our immune system is struggling to keep up.
Exactly. It's that vulnerability that Motin's study is trying to fix,
And understanding that is so important for protecting people.
especially people who work in the cold all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do we even the odds in this temperature tug of war?
Right.
Like, especially in places like meatpacking plants.
Well, the study has some really practical solutions.
Okay.
It addresses both the environment and the individual workers.
Uh-huh.
For example, he suggests things like insulated clothing and heated masks
Oh, that's interesting.
to help workers stay warm.
Makes sense.
There's also warm-up breaks, immune-boosting nutrition, even localized heating solutions.
So it's about being creative, right?
Ah,
Keeping
yeah.
workers warm, but also keeping the food cold.
Exactly. You don't want to mess with food safety.
And it's not just about being warm.
Right.
Good ventilation and sanitation are super important too.
Absolutely.
They help reduce the amount of virus in the air.
Which lowers the risk of infection even more.
So it's like a two-pronged attack.
I like that.
Make it harder for the virus to live
Uh-huh.
and boost the workers' ability to fight it off.
You got it.
You know what else is cool?
What?
The study even talks about using wearable tech.
Like smartwatches.
Yeah, to track workers' body temperatures.
Wow.
Like in real time.
It was like an early warning system.
Exactly. You can step in before someone gets too cold.
And get sick.
It's all about being proactive.
And using data to keep people safe.
I love it. Okay, so let me ask you this. We've been talking about meatpacking plants.
Right.
But could these ideas work in other cold workplaces too?
Oh, absolutely.
Like I'm thinking cold storage facilities, construction sites in the winter, even though it's giant walk-in freezers at the grocery store.
Definitely.
I mean, it's a whole new way of thinking about workplace safety.
Yeah.
Anywhere where it's cold.
And it's about recognizing that temperature isn't just about comfort.
Uh-huh.
It can actually make us more likely to get sick.
You know, that's something I bet most people haven't really thought about.
Probably not.
Like, how many of us bundle up when we go to the grocery store, even if we're just running in for a few things?
Not many.
Right.
I know I don't.
Exactly.
This study is a good reminder to think about the risks of getting too cold.
Whether we're at work or just out and about.
You got it.
So that brings us to the big question.
Okay.
What does all this mean for you, the listener?
Right.
How can you use this in your own life?
Well, think about the places you spend time in.
Yeah.
Especially the ones where the temperature changes a lot.
Like from hot to cold.
Right. Are there ways to be more proactive about protecting yourself?
Like what?
Maybe dressing warmer for certain things, or asking for better temperature control at work, or even just being more aware of how temperature affects how you feel.
It's about taking control of your environment and prioritizing health and safety.
For yourself and everyone around you.
And sometimes it all starts with a simple question.
What's that?
Is it too cold in here?
That's a good one. It's kind of cool how this study connects to the idea of individual responsibility, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we often think workplace safety is all on the employer.
Right.
But this research is like, hey, we all got to do our part.
Totally. It's like knowing this now, can we really justify, grabbing that gallon of milk in a T-shirt?
When the aisle feels like the Arctic,
Exactly.
it really makes you think.
For sure.
This study's like a little nudge. Hey, pay attention to your surroundings.
Yeah, make good choices.
And maybe on a bigger scale, it's a sign for businesses to, rethink those temperatures.
Especially in those customer areas.
Exactly.
Okay, but back to Levne Moten for a sec.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's career is wild.
It really is.
Who would have thought a nuclear engineer would end up, revolutionizing how we think about viruses in meatpacking plants?
It's a pretty crazy story.
It really is like something out of a movie.
It shows you the power of, thinking across different fields.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best solutions come from connecting things that seem totally unrelated.
It makes you wonder, what other connections are we missing out there?
Right.
What other cool applications are just waiting to be discovered?
If we just think outside the box a little,
Like this.
It's all about being curious, challenging those assumptions, seeing the world from different angles.
That's where the real innovation happens.
For sure.
And Levne Moten is like the perfect example.
He didn't let his expertise box him in.
Yeah, he saw a problem, used his science smarts, and found a solution.
Even if it meant jumping into a whole new field.
And that's a powerful message for anyone.
It really is.
No matter what your background is.
It reminds us we all have something unique to offer.
Yeah.
It's about finding those connections and using them to, make the world a little better.
So if a nuclear engineer can become a virus expert,
right,
what's stopping us from, chasing our passions and doing something awesome?
It's all about embracing curiosity, questioning things, looking for those unexpected links between ideas.
You never know. You might just uncover the next big thing.
Exactly.
And that's what this deep dive is all about.
Sparking that curiosity.
Getting you to think differently.
This research is just one piece of the puzzle.
And now it's your turn to see where else those pieces might fit.
Think of it as an open invitation.
Yeah, to explore, to question, to connect the dots in new ways.
Who knows what amazing discoveries are out there waiting?
This deep dive raises a question.
Okay.
If temperature is so important for how viruses act, what other environmental factors are we maybe overlooking?
Oh, that's a good one.
When it comes to public health and workplace safety.
It's a really important question.
Right. Like, could things like humidity levels, air pressure, even light exposure
affect how viruses spread?
Yeah, in ways we haven't even thought of.
It's definitely worth looking into.
We tend to think about viruses on their own.
But they're part of these complex ecosystems.
And so many things can affect how they behave.
This one study has opened up so many possibilities for future research.
It's like we've only just scratched the surface.
And that's pretty exciting.
It really is. It means there's so much potential for discovery and innovation in this field.
For sure.
And it's not just about scientists and labs.
It's about all of us.
Being more aware of our environment and how it affects our health.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a challenge.
Okay, I like it.
Think about the spaces you're in every day.
Your home, your work, the places you visit.
What environmental factors could be playing a role in how viruses spread?
What questions can you ask?
What connections can you make?
Maybe it's something as simple as opening a window.
For better ventilation.
Or asking for more frequent cleaning in public spaces.
Or maybe it's something more complex.
Like looking into how different building materials affect air quality.
The point is, there's always something more to learn.
Always a new layer to peel back.
Levne Moten's journey shows us that innovation can come from anywhere.
The most unexpected places.
And who knows, maybe the next big breakthrough in public health will come from someone just like you.
Someone who's curious, asks questions, and isn't afraid to make new connections.
So keep exploring, keep digging deeper, and never underestimate the power of a single question.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. It's like we found this whole hidden world, right?
Yeah, it's like we were so focused on the virus itself that we forgot about the environment, where it all happens.
Right. Like we missed the forest for the trees.
Exactly. We get lost in the tiny details.
And miss the bigger picture.
And that context can be pretty complicated.
Yeah, who knew something as basic as temperature could have such a huge impact?
Right. It makes you wonder what else we're missing.
Like what other environmental things are affecting how viruses spread?
That's what's so cool about science, though.
What's that?
It always leads to more questions.
And more research.
Exactly. Like, take humidity, for example.
Okay.
We know that affects how long those little respiratory droplets hang around in the air.
Right, those things that carry the virus.
Yeah, so could there be like a perfect humidity level?
Oh, interesting.
Where people are comfortable and the virus doesn't spread as easily?
I like it. What about air pressure?
Ooh.
Does that affect how viruses travel?
I mean, think about airplanes.
Yeah.
They have special filters because of the air pressure up high.
So maybe there's something similar we need to think about, down here on the ground.
It's possible. These are all great questions.
And they show just how much we still don't know.
This one study has opened up a ton of new research avenues.
It feels like we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It really is. There's so much potential for new discoveries and innovations.
And it's not just up to scientists and labs.
It's all of us, right?
Yeah, we all need to be more aware of our surroundings and how they affect our health.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
we want to leave you with a challenge.
All right, I'm ready.
Think about all the places you go every day.
Your homework, the store, the park.
What environmental factors could be playing a role in how viruses spread there?
What questions can you come up with?
What connections can you make?
Maybe it's as simple as opening a window.
To get some fresh air?
Or suggesting they clean more often in public places.
Or maybe it's something more complicated?
Like how different building materials affect the air quality.
The point is there's always more to learn.
Always another layer to uncover.
Levne Moten's story shows us that innovation can come from anywhere.
The most unexpected places.
Who knows, maybe the next big public health breakthrough will come from someone like you.
Someone who's curious and asks questions and isn't afraid to connect the dots in new ways.
So keep exploring, keep digging deeper, and never underestimate the power of a question.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.